There's a common mental pattern with human beings, and it may be hardwired into us. I'm not exactly sure, but it's the idea of finding yourself. Like there's this person or idea out there that we have to go and search for and become. And until you find that, whatever it is, the answer to who am I, we often feel lost because it looks as though so many other people have found the answer to that question of who am I and that they are secure in their identities. And so maybe we feel like we're having an identity crisis. This inevitably happens at probably at least once in a person's life, and this video serves as a gentle reminder and to possibly reframe that maybe you don't actually need to go looking at all when the question is asked, who am I? And there may be a better way to answer that question or not even ask it at all. So I want to start by saying that, like many others, I grew up, you go to school, and I was learning to, you know, do good in school so that one day I could get a good job and be on my own. That's what, my mom and dad would preach. And as that, you are constantly growing, you're constantly, studying and going through life, trying to inevitably get to that place of an adult and to having that job to finally make it. And so, well, there's a lot we could go into that with my trials and tribulations in college and failing and going back to school several times. Anyway, what happened is I eventually did get that job. I eventually, after, from age 5 to 27, 22 years of going to school, trying to figure it all out, I got my first paycheck and I was in the real world of corporate America. And when that happened, I felt like, well, now what? Is this it? Is this all there is? And so I was changing my identity, so to speak. And it was like asking the question again, who am I now? I was this person trying to get to this place, but now I'm here. And so this is an example of how there is no identity in the self to be found. It's a myth. There's no one thing that we can ever just hold on to. It's constantly changing, is what I'm trying to say. With this example, you're a student for a while, then you go to college and you're a college student, and then you may get a job, and then you become a worker. And so things change as you go down the line. Maybe you get older, you become a parent, you become a wife or husband. Roles are changing, even though it may not seem like it in the moment because life seems to be happening at a slow pace for a lot of us, but things are changing. And so you are never this fixed or static entity. You're always putting on new hats, new thoughts, and doing new things as life continues to mold you through each and every experience. So instead of asking the question of who am I, which would often mean that you're going to get a noun kind of answer back, like I am this kind of person. Maybe the self of who we are is more like a verb. Maybe we are more like just roles that we are playing. We are the parent, the partner, the worker, the sibling, the, son, daughter. All these different roles that we are constantly playing, and they're always changing. Some of these roles are great. Some of them we love to do. Others, maybe not so much. Maybe other roles we have downloaded from, bad experiences or childhood and things like, playing the victim or thinking like you're a negative thinker, that you're just not good at certain things, and that becomes a part of your identity. So real quick, let's do maybe you don't have to do it now. Here's an exercise you can do. A 60-second or however long it takes kind of role audit or a role checklist where you write down all the different kind of roles that you play. So if you're a student, maybe you're a sibling, maybe you are a worker, maybe all these different kinds of things you play. Write them all down, because doing this exercise, you are exercising your ability to become aware. If you're able to become aware and spot the roles, you're not as blindly trapped in them. And then you can identify and circle which ones that serve you best and which ones don't. And oftentimes, I think there's a correlation between the ones that don't correlate to the question that comes up in the brain of I need to find myself. Well, maybe that's just code for underneath of I don't like how I feel right now. But what's important is regardless of these roles that you may be writing down, is that we try our best, and this is much easier said than done given that we all have an ego, that we do not identify with these roles as best we can. Because like we've said, roles are constantly changing. And if we let any single role become who we think we are, then, that dream job or that identity is I'm a strong one or this is what I do will eventually fade. It'll lose spark and it'll eventually crumble. So if we glue our identity to any particular role and that role is subject to change, then we suffer. And then we ask, well, who am I now? So 2 ways we can look at this. And both are correct, but I want to give you options because the first one is a little bit more spiritual and it may not resonate with you, and that's okay, but I will mention it anyway just in case it does. If you were just to ask the question in your head, who am I now? If you were to say that right now, do it real quick, just in your head, who am I now? Okay. Were you that thought, or were you the listener or the awareness to that thought? And that's important because in a lot of spiritual traditions, we are not the things that we do, the roles that we play, the thoughts that we think, the emotions that we feel. We are merely the witness, the observer, and the watcher of all of these things. And so behind the ever-changing roles that we play, we are the unchanging awareness of all of these things. So even when that question comes up, if things change in life as they will do, and that question comes up of who am I, if you're able to just watch that question and know that you are the listener behind those thoughts and everything else in life. Now, I know that might sound a little too philosophical, too woo-woo. That's fine. I understand that. A much more rational and easier concept to grasp of understanding that we are not the roles we play is by simply knowing that the roles, like I said, are always changing. And you are a person that's always doing these different roles. And so if you are not the roles, then you are the person. Not needing to seek an identity through these roles, knowing that they're changed, but you are the human being underneath. So you are not the role, you are the awareness or the person underneath that role. So hopefully that made some sense, and there is no need to search like you're lost in the woods for your missing identity, because it can never truly be found. Notice the roles that you're wearing, which ones fit, which ones you put on and you may not like, and you can do that through that exercise that we had. And know that if you are an identity crisis kind of thing where you're searching for this, maybe it's a role that you should be playing and are not, or vice versa. But regardless, they come, they fall, and you're never the costume but the wearer of the role. So another analogy, I beat it to death. But thank you all for watching. Let me know if this made any kind of sense. If you have any feedback, please let me know in the comments. And I will see you all next time. Thank you.